Okay, we're gonna do, I have brought female archangel cards today. We're gonna do female archangels. We have a lot of different energies still in the mix. We'll talk about that too. You guys might be feeling a full moon hangover. My favorite time, right? You might be experiencing or feeling a full moon hangover. It just kind of depends. I was feeling the energies out. I like to do that. We'll talk about that a little bit of how to take care of yourself in these energies. We also have a beautiful trine between our moon in Cancer and Venus and Taurus today. Just give me 1 minute while I find this video and get it set up and shared out. If you're just finding me, take a second to say hi. Just go ahead and leave a comment, especially if you're trying to get cards and things like that. But also make sure you're hitting the share button. So trying to get a card, make sure that you have left a comment, said hi, connect with the energies, and share this out. All right, so we got a lot of solars kicking off. We do have a little bit more coming at us the next couple of days. It's been a little up and down with that too, but remember the solar energies tend to magnify some of the other things energetically, and they tend to kick off the galactics. Well, I think the galactics kind of kick off the solars. So when we're seeing a big increase in, we'll say, the solar activity, a lot of that has to do with the galactic energy streaming through it too. And we know we don't measure the galactics, just the solars, but we can see such an increase in the solars happening. We know that we have a lot of solar activity coming at us the next couple of days. You guys have probably been feeling that just by itself. Then we add in all of course, the galactics and all the alignments happening and things like that too. So your body is probably needing to integrate and rest. And then we're going to throw in all of this moon and Capricorn energy, which is very get serious, long-term goals. I'm not where I want to be in life, right? Like this might be highlighting things coming up today if you pay attention. And then of course we have Venus and Taurus, which is all about, luxury and just wanting to lay around and relax and bask in the divine feminine energy. It's very opposites, because when we deal with that Capricorn energy, it's very Saturn light codes. And of course we're dealing, with this Venus energy, and it's like you might feel like you don't want to do a lot today, but some of you guys start saying you gotta go to work, or it could be highlighting areas too. So if you still have some, we could say a lot, or some wounds around finances and money, or you're just not where you want to be, this stuff could be coming up, but also with relationships and stuff like that too. So we do see there's a karmic nature to today's energies. It isn't meant to be negative, and none of them are meant to be. In fact, we see that we're continuing to release and clear a lot of old, outdated programming that isn't serving us. So these energies are here to help us with our awakening, with our ascension, and we can see they're doing that. But you guys might be just needing a minute to integrate some of those full moon energies. They're pretty strong still, and you might be kind of feeling it on that physical level. So make sure that you're doing a little bit of self-care if you're needing it today. Okay, we're going to do female archangel cards, trying to get back in my card flow. Make sure you guys are checking out my website, sparksofdivinelighealing.com. I am an energy healer. I do a ton of healings, clearings, and activations on my website. It's all really, really going to help you. I do psychic readings. If you're needing me to tap into your individual situation, please just book a reading. I'm having a hard time lately on my end managing everyone, coming to me daily with the same stuff. So if you need me one-on-one, do yourself a favor and just book any of the one-on-one sessions with me, okay? It's that easy, I swear. I have readings, I have healings, I can help you with all of the stuff you need help with. However, just try to make a session for it. Okay, so then I teach classes like Reiki and Sakam. I have a whole bunch of stuff on my site. I have some really nice stuff up here now too the next couple of days, and then I'm going to redo it for the solstice. So I go in waves when it comes to what I'm doing with my work and things like that too. So I have some really nice stuff. I know we have a galactic day on the 17th, and then we're gearing up for the summer solstice. So your body, and I don't mean I know some of you guys can't take a nap here at work. I'm not saying it's take a nap vibe, but you might be needing a minute in between waves right now to integrate some of the downloads and light codes and upgrades that you're going through on the physical level. So just know that. And I always like to be like that, because if you aren't integrating and you're trying to go right into the solstice, it can be a lot for some people and things like that too. So you might be in a little bit of a space of integration today. Okay, make sure you guys have shared this out and left a comment if you're trying to get a card. If you guys are able to sign up and be a supporter or send PayPal donations or stars, please do. It helps to keep this page going, literally, if you guys are getting something out of it. Awesome way you guys can support my mission and get something, or give something back if you're getting something out of this content and things like that too. So if you're sending stars, I'm going to try to give you a psychic shout out, and let's just get into the cards. I see April. Good morning. Archella Serenity, weave a new story. So, and I already did obviously a couple videos earlier. I'll try to put them up. I'm always making videos. I'm trying to make videos when I can anyways, and put stuff out there for you guys to help you in your experience that you're having. Now, a lot of the times this isn't just inner narratives, but sometimes it is, because we're doing a lot of work that all of a sudden in these higher energies, we need to take care with our thoughts. We're manifesting fast. We're saying it to ourselves in our head, and it's happening in real time, faster and faster. And we need to pay attention. Now, I think we had a hard time coming to the planet, because usually you step into your parents' story and don't realize it. I know, welcome to being 5 or whatever, right? Like, you stepped into a whole generational line of stories, and you take in their programming and beliefs, and then, you know, sometimes you start to make your own story and narrative, but it's like out of that. And so you're going to probably notice that the first earlier half of your life has a little bit of a karmic nature to it, and you had certain stories that were playing out, and you were the star and you're center of this, because this is real life as well too. This is not just fantasy in your head. You're actually living this experience here on earth. And then hopefully as you're going through your awakening, you're noticing that if you have attracted or created out of the same patterns, and most of these are things not serving us, or we wouldn't be noticed. So this is why we see many people end up with different people, but in the same circumstances, and friendships, relationships of all types and things like this. It's like, okay, well, you know, I have repeating relationship patterns, or I have, you know, things that have come up again. And then I look at this as like karmic stuff right here. Okay. So usually it's connected to like karmic blocks, imprints, programming, whatever it is. And so it could be like you're in a similar situation. I have a lot of this going on for me in my life right now, with similar situations that are coming in that I've already been through before. And I'm like, you know, like, okay, so I'm just putting it out there. And so you start to notice the patterns. It took me until I was over 40 years old to be able to put together some of the patterns of my life. That's why I wrote those books for you guys. But too, once I did, I began to awaken to certain patterns and things that were happening to me in my life. And it took going through all of those experiences to really start to put those puzzle pieces together. Now we're at a space where a lot of you guys are being guided to take a look at what you're manifesting and what you're creating. And especially if it's not aligned with what you want. And I just told someone this morning, like stepping out of the 3D victim narrative, starring yourself, of course, and everyone else is the villain, or, you know, whatever it is, stuff like this. We need to get out of this. 5D is about, you know, manifesting from a place of empowerment and being like, okay, yeah, I see my role in this too. And making these type of healthy shifts that can really, really benefit us with our spiritual awakening and our healing journey. And so, you know, if you find yourself, I could say, in a chapter, in a narrative, a story you don't like, a chapter of your life that, you know, or, you know, you find yourself sitting by yourself telling you these things that are not really aligned with the life that you want to be living, this is where we have the most powerful chance to shift things is happening. And so we have a chance to rewrite our entire story. And this is why sometimes when we're trying to layer the old chapters and stories, it's not making sense. I found that when I tried to write it all down, like I tried to make sense of it that way. And it's like, you know, it's not fitting together, and that's okay. So as we're making this quantum leap or shift into the 5D, you're probably going to notice that you're letting go of some old chapters, old narratives, old stories that were not very good, especially in the beginning, and things like that. And you're shifting your narrative, but also your mindset through doing this inner work. This inner work is powerful. When you begin to shift your thoughts, you begin to shift the reality that you're living, literally. And so it's always going to start, you know, with the inner work and things like that too. So doing the inner work has the capacity to change obviously your mindset and how you're feeling about things, but your entire life and your entire reality. Is there something you need to, and this is for everyone, need to let go of during this time? It could be a situation, a narrative, a story, a pattern not serving you. I usually find that when we're getting repeating patterns is because, like, we're being guided to work on healing something ourselves. And, you know, sometimes you guys are maybe needing to stand up, snatch back your power real fast, take back your power, or have boundaries, or to do it again. If you're getting a repeat in lessons, like if you have the same lessons 3 times, it could show, you know, you didn't have mastery, or you didn't pass your test, and you're getting it again in a different form so you can get through it. These are deep initiations. When we can pass through these lessons and into mastery, amazing things start to happen too. So if you are, you know, have experience, we all have narratives that are not serving you, or you're living in something that isn't great for you now, time to really empower yourself. This is solar plexus kind of message too for this person. Okay, I see Carissa. Archangel Raziel, learn, change, and grow. And this is exactly what we're here. We need to integrate certain things and to learn from it. So if I gave you the magic wand and we wiped out everything negative in your life, it didn't happen, you would not be the same person standing here. So you had to go through certain lessons, but I feel it's for that soul wisdom, knowledge, what you're getting out of it. And this is why people, when you begin to really, really learn certain lessons, you're like, okay, I won't do that again. I don't think I'm going to do that pattern, engage with that. And so there's a lot of that kind of coming up too. But I mean this in a positive way, that you have mastered certain lessons and you've been through so much, and our lessons stack on each other. We don't go all the way back to kindergarten when we're, in the 5th grade spiritually, right? And so they kind of build on each other. And so we're never going way back there. That's always the fear of the ego. Like we're going to go back to the, whatever we've been through. And you're reaching this state of mastery as you're doing the soul work, working on your lessons and learning from whatever experiences that you've been through. And sometimes that's how we learn, right? Oh, okay. So you have a lot of soul wisdom, knowledge, and you're getting a lot of soul growth very, very fast. Now, I like this word growth because technically we're still in the spring. I know it feels like summer here, trust me. But we're technically in the spring and we're getting ready. We're in the tail end. So the summer solstice, and we'll say in a week or two, is going to open up a new, I call it a new semester, a new energy for us. So we're kind of wrapping up the spring right now. That was what that last night's full moon was really, really powerful for. And when I think of the spring, we're in that blossom and bloom energy and pouring into yourself. And it's not an overnight process, healing yourself as you're going through so many layers, purging out old programming, literally letting go of 5,000 years of human conditioning, everything in your ancestral line, everything on a soul level, everything you've experienced in this life and many past lives. I was trying to explain this. Sometimes you're really, really needing to not make this a quick fix, right? We love that dopamine hit, but you're needing to really, really lean into it and do things in your lifestyle. This is not a 5-minute thing that you're going through. This is working on your own spiritual ascension and doing your spiritual work. And this is where you're going to see, the real soul growth happening as well too. So a lot of what everyone should be doing during this time on planet Earth, but whatever, people can do what they want, is working on your spiritual ascension and working on yourself, whether this is your healing or your goals or your passions or your mission or whatever is kind of coming up for you during this time, but to really work on your healing. And sometimes this is literally these little seeds, positive seeds you're planting with yourself. And so I don't want to go too into this, but I always talk about the importance of how you talk to yourself. You're either planting, negative fear-based seeds, or, you could be your biggest obstacle if someone, not you, but if someone's really negative, every time you go to do something, you're tearing yourself down, and that's the ego, being critical and being fear-based, and this won't work out. You're not going to accomplish much generally, but if you can shift gears and you can flip the script and be more supportive of yourself, you're actually planting powerful seeds. And I always describe it like I'm a terrible gardener, but you plant your little seed, we know this, and then you're going to put it in some dirt and you're going to water it. And you're probably going to water it every single day. And then I talk about, you went through all of this work to plant this little seed. This is yourself that you're growing. This is your manifestations, your dreams. And, I go back out there, it's the next day, and, I go out there and my seed hasn't sprouted yet. I'm not going to go kick the pot over and go swear it. I planted this yesterday, where is it? But this is what people do with their manifestations all of the time. And I'm always when you manifest something, whether this is an object in your life or something tangible, or actually your own healing because you're growing yourself like a plant, right? You're not going to be okay, day 2, I put all those manifestations out there last night with the full moon. They haven't shown up yet. I'm going to start kicking the plant over and, it doesn't work. This is what people do though within the spiritual, instead of, okay, that plant maybe needs a little sun or some water. And that's how we are. We're literally, as star seeds, we're trying to activate ourselves and heal and bring all of this online too. So this is also, a message about being just more supportive of yourself, because you know what, you could have these dreams and they might feel impossible because they should if they're big enough. And they might feel oh, I don't know about that. And it could be anything. But the more you think about these things, you're planting little seeds that are actually manifesting into your path, your reality, and your journey moving forward. And the ancients knew this. I know we always have this distorted distorted perception of it. They knew that you want to put prayer out there, you want to put intention out there, you want to start manifesting, you want to start putting good thoughts out there, and, you know, staying away from negativity. Like, it's very important, obviously, and things like that. And to really, really nurture yourself and to take care of yourself and to begin to show up for yourself too. So sometimes this isn't an overnight process, as we're seeing with Ascension. It's like, you know, you'll think you're great and some more lessons come up because we're going to stay learning, right? Like I was great, and then the universe sent in whatever it was. And you know, sometimes it's like taking care with that patience too, when we're talking about kind of planting seeds and blossoming and blooming. So we're still in that beautiful spring energy where a lot of you guys are tending to your seeds, whether you realize that or not, within your own healing or these manifestations that are happening or going to happen. So, and then I'm going to put this out there too. So that Capricorn moon energy is like, you got goals, but you know you got to work hard to make them happen. That's Capricorn energy in a nutshell. Okay, so let's do Rose Gack. Good morning. I thought the energies were a little flat. I thought I'd come pick up things and say hi. Archaela Harmony, bring in music. And I love this. And so this could be I love it because I always... One way that I connect with spirit and my loved ones on the other side, I love to play their favorite song. I was thinking yesterday or the other day, I wish I knew that I have a loved one on the other side. I wish they knew their favorite song because I can start doing it for them. But if you ever had a loved one in spirit, you'll know, you know, they might have a favorite song that they loved on earth, and, you know, you can always put it on and summon them in a minute, and you'll probably feel the presence around a little bit more. It would be like if you were on the other side and you had some music you loved and they were playing it for you, right? So you can call in your loved ones. Music is one of the best ways to connect with spirit, believe it or not. And some of you guys are getting spirit messages in that way. You could be like literally driving down the road and put your, you know, music on. And I always find, because, you know, we're listening to the radio, the music loves to shuffle around. So I hadn't, you know, you haven't been somewhere in a month or something. It's new music, I hope, on the radio. So you might hear some new stuff, and it's like probably fits your life. like it may. Like you might get spirit messages that literally fit your life. Like you're walking in the mall and they have some speakers on, and it's literally like some type of soundtrack song for your life when you're walking in. You're going through a breakup mix, thanks to the universe, or whatever it is, jokes aside. So spirit loves to move through music, and we know that because, you know, good music makes you feel something generally. Well, depends, right? You vibe with it. Like, you know, you ever put on like a really terrible song and you're like, oh my God, I got to turn that off. It's killing my ears or whatever. But same with good stuff, right? It has a frequency. That's what I'm getting at. And frequency is powerful, especially as we're learning that everything is energy, everything is frequency, and we're learning this stuff or relearning it during this time. And so, you know, music can have a very, very calming effect. How many times, like if you were going through something terrible or, you know, even grief or mourning, breakup or whatever it is, how many times could you turn to your favorite music, right? Put on that breakup song, hits the spot, right? And whatever it is. And so, you know, that spirit loves to communicate with us through music. I've asked a question before and I have like the whole message come back through the lyrics, and I'm sitting there like, okay. So because sometimes, I don't want to say they don't have a voice, but sometimes we're not always as psychically clear as we think. It loves to send obvious signs and messages in that way. And there's other types of music too. Like, so I spend a lot of, obviously you guys probably see I spend a lot of time on social media sometimes hanging out. So I try to get off of there. Like if I've been on social media all day and I go over to YouTube and I'll go put on some meditation, and, you know, I've been trying to really meditate a lot more. And so you guys can always put on binaural beats, find a guided meditation, and really start to get into your inner world. And I think that's so important during this time to really nurture our inner world. And, you know, whether that was, we talked about the mind, but so much more, and to go within to these spaces. And so music can help. Like in 1 minute, you put on the right, you know, meditation mix, you're probably going to be really tranced out if they're good at it. So connecting with spirit. Okay, so, and I'm going to go a little bit deeper in this message just really fast. I know this is hard while we're live, and if someone's coming to mind, perhaps this is a spirit message too, because that's what we're talking about. So just keep that in mind too. Maybe loved one from the other side sending you a message to pay attention to music, especially if it's like from another era. And I've had weird experiences in my life. Like I tried to write about some of these spiritual experiences I was having in my book that helped open me up to mediumship, because I am a psychic medium. And I was always having encounters anyways, and having, spiritual stuff happen. My life never looked like everyone else's a lot of the time, even at a young age. And I was, having to navigate a lot, or, in the spiritual. And sometimes, that can take practice. Like now I'm like, okay, but it can take practice to integrate into that, or integrate into some of these gifts and things like that too. So I was having these experiences like out of nowhere, I'm just living I call it living my life here on earth, and, navigating my path. And I was having these spirit messages that were coming through very, very loud. And so sometimes you can be getting them, and you could be like, like listening suddenly, mother or grandmother's favorite song comes on, or something that reminds you of them, or someone says something to you. You can get these spirit messages in many different ways. Spirit can use, obviously, psychics and mediums on a more professional level, but it can use the people around you to send you messages at times, especially if they're trying to get a message through to you too. But music is one way that we can connect in a very, very powerful way. I think we can see that too. Let's do Bonnie Ward. Leap, spread your wings. Now, we never like this. This is literally getting out of the codependent box, which is wanting someone to hold our hand as we walk our path, basically, right? Anyone, like, okay, I gotta navigate the unknown spiritual awakening. I don't know where I'm going, because it is a journey, even though we think we're just sitting here, right? But it is a whole path that we navigate, and especially with the awakening too. And so sometimes we would love to have the same people walking the path, right? But it doesn't always work out like that with our lessons. We have certain soul contracts with people that some of them could last a lifetime, some of them may be very short, but they're all laid out in a very meticulous way to help us. And so this is and I don't know, because I don't recall the name good, but I assume a divine feminine to be getting this message, but this is not gender based. So today is amazing for tapping into the divine feminine energy. Yes, men too, okay? So for everyone, okay, so it's tapping into your divine feminine energy, which is kind of shaking off the chains of codependency, getting independent. But when we do this, we can actually navigate relationships from a healthier space and not in an unhealthy dynamic, because sometimes when we're coming together or attracting people out of our, kind of codependent or needy needs, we don't always end up in the best situations. They tend to bring in karmic situations or karmic partners. So as you're waking up and working on yourself and healing, this is where you level up yourself and your energy, but also your connections, and they get a lot deeper and a lot better in a good way and things like that too. But you're not going to like this message, because it's a little bit like, the baby bird. It is an angel message, but it's a little bit like the baby bird has been in the nest and very comfortable in the cocoon, and the mom just kind of shoves it out there. Like literally the bird's like, ah, but it can fly. And it's like, here's your first flying lesson. Mom just kind of shoves it out of the nest. So a lot of you guys have been in this, and I feel it, a spiritual cocoon kind of energy. You've been working on yourself and you're healing and maybe feeling a little better in your own energy, but now it's time to really, really see what you're about, and that you have these wings. I mean this in an angel way. Like a lot of times we forget, and this is the root cause of a lot of our suffering when we come here, when we believe that we're separate from, we can say God or source, I just say source, but when we're separate from divinity, and we believe that a little too much when we're asleep, and we have a lot of root cause of suffering. It's something that we heal. Like I talk a lot about with relationships, healing separation, but it's actually separation from the divine and consciousness and things like that too. So we come into this experience like, yeah, you believed you were a human for a really long time, but as the energies are rising, a lot of you guys are awakening to actually you're a spiritual being. You come from the angelic realms. And I know, but it's one thing to say it, and it's another to embody that. Ascension is requiring us to step into our divinity and to embody it. And a lot of our lessons have been to show us this too. So when we don't get along with people, it could go bad. It's just, we talked about the grumpy boss firing you, the partner that was not very good with you. I could go on and on with this list, right? I was talking a little bit about some of the betrayals and things. Okay, we have a whole list of maybe situations that just weren't very good for you. And so we know when we don't get along with anyone, there's a karmic nature to it. And it's like, oh, that come back around. Even if you didn't intend to, it's like, okay, your boss fired you, you say, have you on the way out the door? and then guess what? It's coming back and your partner is doing it back or whatever. So we know there's a karmic nature. So a lot of our lessons in life, doesn't matter what they are, okay, they're all packaged up in a different way. They're teaching us to get along better with everyone else. And that when we hurt another person, it hurts us probably in 7 years, but right? And the cycles, and we forgot about it. And yeah, here comes a karmic cycle and reminding us. So if we could just simply better exist with each other, but actually in harmony and in unity and get along, this is where I feel the biggest collective shift is going to happen, because we know we learn with each other, okay? We don't always want to learn with people, but you're actually matched up to learn with people. It doesn't matter what it is and what situation, you're always kind of touching other people. But I feel that when we can get along on a better level, that this is where the magic is going to happen, where we can just start to be a little kinder and nicer to people and a little more, we say compassionate and understanding. And, this is where the real magic is going to happen as well, too. So this is a card about empowerment. There's been a lot that doesn't make us feel very powerful, but you're actually taking back your power on many different levels, and you're being reminded, I'll say, your angelic nature, and of your angelic nature and angelic higher self. So this is probably a message for some type of earth angel and things like that, and you might begin to really embody that and resonate with that too. So I always think, like with me, I'm very galactic, if you guys didn't notice, and this is playing a role in this incarnation of me here on earth too. So I embody that, but some of you guys might even be more resonate with being like, we could say there's an elemental mix or an angelic kind of mix. So you might really resonate with feeling a little bit more elemental, because angels are elemental, angelic or elemental in nature too. But to really remember that too, because we're here to get our wings back, and this is what it all is too. So whatever it is, some of our actions can set us farther down, Ascension, and then we want to ascend. We want to rise up out of it too, and ascend and kind of tap into that too. So it's like all about getting we could say halo, getting your halo back, getting your wings back. But to actually embody that, and to embody the 5D here in the physical, that's what we came here to do through Ascension. That's what Ascension is to do the work, to clear the density out and the projection and distortions and blocks and traumas, and to get rid of it, and to really become yourself, who you were meant to be before all of this too, and to embody that template too. So this is like angelic kind of template. And I'm going to remind you guys, before anyone thinks this is maybe a little out there, every human embodied that angelic template. I write about that too. If you guys read my books, I write about the creation stories and the angel stories, and we probably all ended up stuck here on earth and things like that too, because there are people that have forgotten. So the planet kind of needs to wake up and return to that too. So very angel message. We're going to do David Curtin. Archangel Ariel, connect with nature. And so there's a lot of magic to be found there. And then this could be connecting with the energies and connecting with nature. It could be connecting with yourself, or for the recharge or for the healing energy. This is the best time to be getting outside, because I think I'm going to talk about it in the fall. If you're still here in the winter, we're going to talk all about, the decay of the planet once again. But we're in the blossom and bloom energy. And so the earth is actually a living being. And so with all this energy flooding the planet and, flooding the planet with these frequencies, and it's distributed across the grid and the ley lines, and, it's enough to bring the earth back from the dead. I think that's what we all need to do, right? Like the earth is literally dead 6 months ago or whatever. You guys might have been seeing that. It looks all dreary, like a movie scene. And then suddenly it's all, lush and beautiful. We want to be connecting with that energy too, especially if you guys have inner child issues, root chakra issues, fear, lack, just not feeling secure. I think that's something that we're all experiencing like never before during this time. It could feel like, the rug could get pulled out from under us at any minute again. And I mean, collectively and things like that. And so one way that we can heal that and feel more secure is to get more secure within ourselves and anchored within ourselves and our own energy. So when we connect with the earth, it helps us to cleanse and clear things on the ancestral level, things on the root chakra level that sometimes we kind of get left behind, and it's full of stuff, right? Hidden fears and things that can come up. So when we really heal our root chakra, we're actually healing things like the mother wound. By connecting with the earth, we're healing our root chakra. So connecting with the earth is just so powerful for healing. Cat P. abundance, step into overflow. So this is, and we have a lot of financial healing and things like that. And this goes very, very deep, that we pick up a lot of programs. And this is why, well, this is what I've been taught, that it can be very hard to get out of our programming unless you become aware and consciously aware of, like, my program isn't very good. And that's everyone in the 3D, right? And needing to, you know, work on that, how you're wired up. And so it also has a lot to do with how you perceive money, just like any other relationship. Like, right? Oh my God, how do you feel about money? Do you struggle? Are you good? Are you amazing? We can have all different end spectrums. You know, are you like, I don't know. And this is a big thing because it is a relationship. You're gonna be like, are you in a toxic relationship with money, or is it okay? Like, right? Like, or are you like, I don't know, it's not treating me good. But I'm huge on healing so that we can tap into more and that we can create more. And oftentimes how we're being guided to create on the 5D level might be a little bit different than on the 3D level, where some of you guys are being guided to, like, get creative, use your gifts. Might be needed during this time, right? Get creative, use your gifts, or, you know, to pay attention if you get good ideas. It could be an invention or an Etsy shop or like a business, or, you know, side hustle or whatever it is. Maybe some of you guys got a job and you're like, okay, I can do this, and, you know, you could do really, really good with it and things like that too. So it just kind of depends, but this is healing something financially. So sacral healing will really, really help you so that you can tap into more abundance. And we're taught that there is a lack. Like, if you turn on the TV, you know, I forget, I haven't seen it. There's a lack in that mentality, but in actuality, there's billions of dollars circulating the planet daily, and that actually people are flowing, by the way, and probably working harder than they ever have, just to let you know. And so we need to get out of this lack programming and how we may perceive things. And so, you know, we're gonna say, I know it's not a glass, but the glass is it half full or half empty right here? We're gonna say, right? And some people might be like, you know, I barely got any, this is their money, by the way, I barely got any water, I'm gonna die. Like, well, it looks half full to me, right? It looks okay. It's half and half, we'll say, right? And then some people, you know, can make a lot last a while, right? Like, oh, okay, the same amount of money someone else might be okay with and content with, and someone could probably have everything and not be very content or whatever, right? And so sometimes it has to do with our mindset too. But some of our financial blocks, obviously energetically, probably picked up once again through your sacral, but also sometimes shifting our mindset and how we perceive money and abundance is really, really powerful too. So this is why we learn how to stay in gratitude. Like, okay, life's throwing me lemons, okay, making lemonade and staying grateful for what I do have. Everything's being stripped away. There's things going. It could be people, situations, but just being more grateful for what you do have or the experience, and to really shift your mindset will help with that too. I have a ton of financial healings on my website. Like, I like to think I have little categories, and I made sure to try to organize it a little better so you guys can find stuff. But I also have a nice search bar in my shop, so if you're looking for something, like, you know, you have something you've been struggling with, something you want to heal, you can always type it in or just flip through. So I do a lot of focus on that too. And it took me to get to like this point in my life to master those areas too, because I had a lot of struggle obviously on earth and things like that, and to really, really heal myself for those kind of keys and things like that too. So this is also connected with our relationships and things like that when we deal with our sacral chakra, but also overall energy. So some type of either, we'll say financial healing for you, or even sacral healing will help. I see Gail G. Archella Virtue, open your heart. And we'll all say, well, my heart's open. And I'm like, okay, like, more, right? It's like more, okay. So we're going to keep going. We're still here on Earth. We got work to do. That's the Capricorn moon, by the way. It was all fun for the Sagittarius. I got no attachments, freedom, right? And then the Capricorn moon sets in and we're like, okay, I might have some work to do, but we're talking energy work on this. So the goal is to stay more open, but usually sometimes it could highlight issues that we might have had in the past, or usually it's not like, okay, I want to use, we'll say relationship fear or connection issues usually don't just happen right then. They're usually something that's like a snowball been kind of building, you know, hurt in the past, this partner did this or that, and it kind of builds up, okay? And then what usually happens is sometimes people, I talk about avoidance a lot, right? A high level of avoidance or pulling back or not connecting. We see a lot of that in our time like never before. So we want to work on being more open in our heart chakra, obviously for love, right? But this is part of our spiritual connection. Our chakras are much more than the outer lessons and areas that they're connected to. They're also very much part of our spiritual, I don't want to call them software, but our spiritual programming and things like that too. So when we have blocks in other area, they're going to probably manifest in our outer reality in our life, like a relationship block or problems because we're dealing with the heart. Or internally, we might feel it. You know, I see that too with ascension symptoms. You're not going to get out of this without some type of, maybe not today, hopefully, some type of ascension work that you're doing. And this tends to be very energetic too. So sometimes people can tell by like ascension symptoms coming up. I have so many people that talk about tightness in the chest, heart palpitations, heaviness there, pain, blocks, wounds, whatever it is. Oftentimes you feel these things. And I talk a lot about the manifestation of the chakra blocks in the, you know, actual illnesses and things like that too. We see that in a lot in older age and stuff like that. It can kind of, as I said, stack on each other and build up. So the goal is to open our heart, even after being hurt and things like that. When we're like, that's risky. Yeah, I know. You got to stay open because you don't want to close off. We close off, we die, we stay open. Okay, we're flowing, right? So we want to stay in that flow, jokes aside. So this could be maybe something from your past that you need to heal or repair or look at, something currently going on, or maybe the universe just wants you to really develop that chakra. I never developed mine. I had a lot of issues earlier on that I could see, like health issues as a child living in that environment. But as an adult, then I began to, after my awakening, begin to develop and really work on these chakras too. So maybe the universe just really wants you to work on that chakra or to strengthen it or to make it a little bit better too, or a little bit more open. And I find closed off, we don't feel that source energy as much. We're still there. We're still alive, right? We're always connected, even if we feel disconnected. But when we're truly open, you're going to feel the waves of energy. You're going to feel like a current or a jolt at times, or, you know, and that's what I'm after, feeling that energy too. So you'll feel it a lot more too with the energy flow. So something there with the heart chakra. Remember, your heart chakra is very important for acting as a bridge between your physical self, the lower, and the higher self, the spiritual aspects. Jennifer Smith. Archella clarity, rest, reflect, and recharge. We call this integration day. Just take a minute to integrate some of these energies. They're still coming in pretty strong. You might be needing to listen to your body. Hey, if you're zooming and you're still riding that full moon wave, get things done. But you might find that, like, some of you guys might be feeling a little achy or a little lethargic, or you just don't feel like doing much today. It just depends. I always say to really, you know, tune into your own body. And then this could be overall message. So say someone who overworks a lot, some of you guys, like, you're needing to create more of a space for rest in your life. So that's okay. Do what you want. Do you. But if you're wearing yourself down and overexerting your energy, maybe peopling a lot, I see that, traveling a lot, peopling a lot, overworking. Hey, it's society. We're all doing what we do. However, really needing to take that space to recharge yourself. Some things tax your energy more. I use that word tax on purpose. Tax your energy more than some things. Like, you could hang out with one friend and maybe it's really recharging for you and you feel great, but you could have another that, you know, you hung out for an hour and it was a little draining. Same with your work or whatever you got going on. Look at your energy as like your cell phone battery might be easiest, but it's actually more connected to your currency and so your power, right? So, you know, I always talk about the cell phone is full, you're charged up, you feel great. You had a nice, you know, weekend, you're doing great, you go to work, you had to deal with your family, all this stuff. There's things that can kind of run us down. And then what happens at the bottom is we get sick, by the way. So oftentimes people don't notice. You feel fine. You slept 8 hours last night. You woke up. You're great. And then guess what? You got the flu. So sometimes it's connected though. That's all I'm getting at. So you might not notice, like, you know, because you've been doing the same routine all week or whatever. But sometimes when we get really low, we get sick actually because it's too much on our energy and we can't sustain it. Now we're programmed that we should be working this set amount of hours. We should be doing this. You should be able to do everything. Hell, if you're a woman, you should be superwoman in this day and age. You should be able to work 50 hours, maybe 60, parent, do the family, you know, cook dinner or whatever you got going on, right? And it's like we're expected to do a lot and sometimes you can't keep up, right? And this is the spaces I talk about of empath burnout, being tired and needing to heal whatever it is and replenish ourselves. So despite what you got going on, your life is your individual life. Make sure that you're taking the time to really recharge your energy properly. And we can't rely on 8 hours and sleep every night, because guess what? Everyone would be amazing if that was working. And so sometimes it has to do with our actual battery, right? Our energy levels and things like that too. So, you could have been okay last week working those 60 hours, but this week you're having a hard time keeping up midweek, and it can take a toll on you. So you got to really, really take better care of your body. And the reason why, because I know everyone was working those 80 hours for 100 years, but we're actually doing this ascension in real time. And a lot of this ascension is the upgrades that are happening energetically and on the physical level. And so I see a lot of people that are having a hard time keeping up. And I mean, anytime, it doesn't have to be today. I see it. I see it in real time when I'm watching the planet and the ascension and, whatever, here to help. But I see that. And you can see it with people's health, how people are doing, how they're keeping up, their mental health and things like that too. So it's very important, like never before, that we are really taking care of ourselves. And that might be different. Sometimes you might be needing a little extra rest, or you might be needing some energy work, or whatever it is you're needing. Just make sure that you're really taking care of yourself right now during this time. Let's do Melissa. Archangel Zadkiel, strengthen your boundaries. And boundaries are really, really important. And then usually when you do put an okay boundary, if you have someone really, really toxic, they're not going to like that. And then they don't like you suddenly. You're like, oh no, I've been going through some of this, right? Like, okay. And some people will feel entitled to you and your energy. I don't know why. And, and can even be a little, I want to use the word manipulative to get your access and things like that. You're needing boundaries. Sometimes you might be okay, people, and we talked about that. You got your friend, they're all right. You went out, you're okay. But sometimes you might not feel like it. You just don't feel like it. Like you might make a choice to choose yourself in some of these situations. Do I really want to go sit with this person I'm no longer resonating with and be drained for an hour? Or do I want to just go chill at home by myself? Right? And it is okay to choose yourself. You don't have to perform. You don't have to do what everyone else is doing. You don't have to keep up. Those energy boundaries are to keep you good, by the way, and to protect you, which we're needing, if you didn't notice. And before you guys say no, look back at your entire life. You'll see that you probably really needed that protection or that extra boundaries. So having good boundaries helps you with your energy, but it helps you with healthier connections, because when you have zero boundaries, we have really unhealthy connections. And so the more healthy you are with yourself and your connection with yourself and your boundaries, you're saying, this is what I'll allow and this is what I won't allow. And unfortunately, we weren't taught this, because we probably should have been taught this in childhood, but that wouldn't have worked in those dynamics, right? Like, okay. But we're learning it now. And I think that's what's important too, so that we can, have healthier connection with ourselves and better energy and do better, but also within our connections. So when you have healthier boundaries, it's going to open up space for healthier connection. We're going to do Brody. Archangel Chamiel, be what you want to attract. So sometimes we try to manifest out of lack. This is like, I don't have it and I want it. Okay? And we feel that distance. I don't have it. I feel a lack and I want this. Okay? It could be anything. The universe responds to who you are in this story and in this character, because next life you'd be someone different. And it is responding to what you're putting out there, who you are as a person. And it's a little, sorry, a little distracted. It's a little bit like out of that too. So you want to be what you want to attract. And so this is why, like, if you want to have another job, you go do that job, you become that person, and all of that stuff will align. And you're going to notice that you've shifted in and out of many different lives and realities in this lifetime too. And so sometimes just, deciding what you want is enough to attract it too. So we see this, I'm going to put this out there, with jealousy is out of lack. And a lot of times people are scrolling and they see someone got the big win. I don't know what, a house, a car, a kid, whatever it is, right? And they're like evil eye energy, instead of, just hear me out, and give an evil eye energy out of, this is jealousy. But in reality, if you see like your friend is getting something, you should be next. You want to align with it. So instead of, within yourself, you should actually be like leaving a comment, if it's socials, congratulations, I'm really happy for you. And when you get into that space of being supportive, you're going to be next. But when we go around in lack, sometimes we block our own blessings. And so a lot of times what you're being shown around you in your life, on your social media feed, it's part of your reality, and the universe is showing you things. It is possible for you to, anything that you desire, anything that you want to manifest. And so it's healing any of that lack programming, which is just our ego telling us, I can never do this, I can never have this isn't for me, whatever it is. It goes to the money programming too a lot of the times. and things like that too. So we attract who we are. So this is powerful for relationships. And I'm always kind of reminding, I deal with a lot of toxicity with relationships. And I'm dealing with someone this morning, and I'm like, this is a mirror, right? Like a literal mirror. You do something karmically, they do it to you. And it's kind of like, once we realize that, this can be powerful in shifting things too. So we talked about being nicer to people and getting better results. If everything's being mirrored back to us, it's a little bit like alien tech, our reality that we're all living in. And, we do something and it mimics us. It literally does. And so, simply as, being more kind and loving in our relationships will change the entire dynamic. But we usually like attracts like, and that's a conversation we don't want to go too into with it too. This is with our lessons. You're struggling in a certain lesson. You're going to be learning with someone else doing the same lessons. This is how we get matched up with family, partners, friends, whatever it is. So you notice you're having, a struggle with whatever. We can say that. And I'm just going to put this out there. Like I always refer to like addiction too. So you're like heavy, not saying you are, heavy drinker. That's what you do every day. You go to the pub and you're heavy drinking. You're probably going to be surrounded with a lot of people who are also drinking with you, right? But when you shift out of any pattern and you begin to heal yourself and you begin to choose better, your social circle will change too, and who you're attracted to and who you're attracting will change too, and in a good way too. So when we do heal a pattern and we begin to make these shifts, you're noticing, and this is why a lot of times we're having people fall off our timeline, but we get matched up with lessons too. And so a lot of times our partner that we will attract romantically is actually working on the same things as us. It could be the opposite side of it, but oftentimes we get matched up for that reason, for certain spiritual lessons and things like that too. Let's do cinnamon. Archela, patience, trust the process. And so this is the hard part of having trust and surrender, and then learning like, okay, sometimes my ego plan didn't work out great, but my soul knows what it's doing, guiding me through this experience and trying to trust the process. And that sometimes it can be, I always talk about if you were given the blueprint of your life, like I can't even imagine getting the rest of my life and you'd be staring at it like, what do you want me to do? You want me to do this and do that? Imagine if that was all written out your entire life. Now let's just say we don't know what's coming next, unless you come get a reading, right? But you know what you've been through. Imagine how complicated that would be to lay it out. You're going to learn with this person, it's not going to work out. You're going to do this, you're going to do that. And it all laid out like that because it really is within the spiritual. So we're needing to kind of walk the path and tap into how to navigate it as we go in real time. And this is what your spirit guides are here for, to help you through the process. That's why the most important thing we can do is to switch on or better activate our intuition so that we can get better, downloads and knowledge. And this helps us with so much inner clarity of what to be doing as we're navigating our path too. And so if you're thinking this could be like, you can fall into, I don't think anything's working out. Sometimes when things are falling in, they're going better than you think. I know. And that we don't like that falling in feeling. It's like lack of control. I don't know what's happening. Nothing I'm doing is working out. But in actuality, it always is. And we're needing to learn how to have trust and surrender for the process. And so this is like 99% of the time, guaranteed your life might not look like you thought, especially with the people that are doing awakening and ascension, and that is okay. That's fine. Trusting this higher power as it's guiding us through this process too. So sometimes we're needing to trust within the spiritual and to better activate our spiritual connections so that we can better navigate the experience. And that's okay. I was saying the other day, like our lives are not entirely our own, if you didn't notice. So instead of resisting, trying to go with the flow, as the universe is bringing you through it and kind of revealing things and unfolding things for you. So this is like, and this could be more security. When we talk about security, it's feeling good, by the way, in our energy and feeling okay and not spinning out at every little thing. And so this could also be, root chakra too. We're dealing with the two lower chakras, root and being secure, and also sacral for you, trust. So could be healing some type of, I don't want to call it, we'll say trust wound or issues, goes deeper. It does go into relationships, but with the spiritual. Damien. Archela, victory, time to raise your vibration. And we'll say, well, I'm feeling pretty okay. Well, we gotta keep going. The planet is going up like an elevator, and we are all going up too. And so we want to let go of the things that are weighing us down and keeping us in a lower resonance. It's happening though. So as the planet is going up, think like an elevator, and you're on the elevator, you're going up. Guess what happens? here comes the trauma, the blocks, the density, the negative emotions, all the negative thoughts, feelings they're surfacing to let go of within ourselves. There's like a huge, clearing out of your old life, things you've been through, things you got to leave in the past and just let go of. It's like a wipe. So this is kind of happening, doing things to raise your vibrational frequency. Sometimes, you're feeling great. Yesterday was a different vibe than today with that full moon. And then it's like the ups and the downs, and it's okay. It's how you are in these spaces, and like staying positive, continuing to raise your vibrational frequency. Letting go of terrible foods helps me a lot. Letting go of bad foods, negative thoughts, negative beliefs, negative connections, things that aren't great for you. You're going to have more and more awareness though as you're going through this process of what to be working on for yourself. And I always say I don't think this is an overnight process. So when you guys look back to your spiritual awakening, this is what changes everything in your life. You'll probably notice that you're guided to make some changes, and you'll say, well, I don't know. Maybe that friend went back there because they weren't that good. Maybe you were, eating really bad junk food, and the universe made you aware, don't eat that brand. We should be doing that with a lot of stuff, right? Could have been a toxic relationship. It didn't work out. I see a lot of people letting go of these things and thinking it isn't working out, when actually you just are letting go of a karmic connection. Or it could be anything, and it could be things within yourself, things you're healing. You've really had a hard time and struggled with X, Y, and Z, and you've been healing X, Y, and Z, and you've shifted out of it and you're doing really good now. And it could be in many different ways that you're being guided to just work on yourself and work on healing yourself. And this is going to look different for, all sorts of people, of what you're working on or what you feel guided to work on. And I use that word guided. You'll probably be guided to work on some things and to do the ascension work, whatever that entails for you. Now, I'm going to put this out there because I should be bringing them. And I really am about to get my next book to the series up. And I always say it kind of takes it full circle. And I went into a lot of yucky stuff because this is what I see too at my job. And I got real honest and went into a lot of personal yucky stuff to try to help anyone going through the awakening ascension process. So I backed up, and I've been awake a while. I've been doing these videos a while, and I tried to go back because I was getting a lot of guidance of what to do with the ascension with myself, of healing, right? Obviously the healing. And so I tried to go back, and I was being guided to make food shifts. I was being guided to get rid of the chemicals and the addictions and, things that weren't good in my life, and the relationships and all of it. And it was like, this series, and that was a lot of my journey too, that I lost a lot of people, but maybe they weren't great anyways. And here I am and going through this work. So I tried to regress myself and write about it, so that if you guys are going through this, I put a lot of really good stuff in my books that probably might trigger things in you with your own journey, because I think we're going through certain, templates and patterns of what we're healing and what we're letting go of. So we're doing many lifetimes of work for this awakening and to raise our frequency very, very fast from a lower frequency, we could say. And so we're clearing out a lot of density too. And sometimes we don't notice that. You could be just, you're feeling great all week and you have a yuck day one day and you just don't feel like doing much and you're feeling a little moody, or, or you're having stuff come up, or you're becoming more aware of the problems because they're coming up. And it could be like anything like that too, but you're being guided to continue to make certain changes and things like that too, just to lighten up your energy. So let's do Nikki Ford. Archangel Sandalphon, center and ground. Make sure that you're grounding yourself. I feel I get very out of balance when I'm not grounding. Sometimes you just gotta go outside and sit there and you'll feel so much better. We talked about that, you're feeling the ascension or the energies at any given time, just to ground. But I think this is important too, because when we don't ground enough, and I think this is big for star seeds too, because I like to think you guys are all star seeds if you're finding me, or you would have turned this off like a while ago. So if you're a star seed, you're in space. Did you ever notice you're in your own dimension? In fact, a lot of your spiritual pull is you just want to go off and make your own world usually. And make your own realities. You can make entire constructs and whatever it is, okay? So, and some of this is the collective we're learning here with other people, we said, jokes aside. And so as a starseed, you're in space all day. You might be on cloud 9. Maybe you were like the little kid in school and they're like, can you stop spacing out? You're not paying attention. You could have been really ADD as a kid, right? You weren't interested in all this stuff and programming, because you might have even been unprogrammable. This is where a lot of you guys are. Like, I always wonder why half of the planet is under a magic illusion spell and then the other half is awake right now. Okay, you might be less susceptible right, to the mind control and the things that we've all been through. And you might have noticed this as a starseed kid a lot of the time too. You might have been like, you didn't want to sit through all that. You just wanted to go play. You were kind of tuning out your geometry. You might not have liked school at a certain point or whatever. Then even now you might be able to trance out. I talk about when I do the channeling, I'm trancing out and going somewhere else and going into these other dimensions or realms, especially if you guys are like an astral traveler, you're a meditator, you just like some alone time to sit with yourself, right? You feel better like that. Signs you might be a starseed though too. So as starseeds, a lot of times you guys have this upper chakra connection. It's very, very important. You might have, through all of this, some of you guys might have been like, well, maybe put in like really religious families or not religious at all. And like you came out real spiritual somehow. Like you knew things you didn't know, you could have had a really good honing towards the spiritual. You might be really interested in it now, where a lot of people don't seem very interested in it. You might be really guided into things like starseed stuff and astrology and healing and all of this. We could even say occult stuff or whatever you're into. And this is important, but sometimes starseeds are so in the upper chakras that a lot of starseeds struggle with the lower. And this is like the root chakra, right? Because that was developed in, age 0 to 3. I don't remember back then, but apparently I didn't have the best time, right? According to some of my programming. So we were kind of programmed up with our first chakra, like before the age of 3. And, we don't usually remember. That's probably a good thing. But we have that programming. And so then we go to do life and, you're 18, 20, 25, 50, whatever, and you're having problems. You're like, right? It's like the problems come up. And so when we can go back and heal the root chakra, this is where 99% of our problems exist, and we can really heal it. So we talked about grounding, energy work, things like that. If you have a rough day, we talked about that boss. We keep bringing him up. He just, was making you overthink and you're stressed and you don't know if you're getting fired tomorrow or you got something else going on. You're in your head. You're having a lot of thoughts. We can look at fear and anxiety or, negative thoughts as that too. We start spinning. It's the ego. Ego is okay. It's literally like the ocean, okay? 99% of the time it's chill. You won't even notice it. It's there in the background. But when someone ticks you off, the boss, the friend, the breakup, whatever it is, it goes full on. It literally comes in for the kill with you. It's your voice in your head, right? And so this is where the negative thoughts and ideas, and usually it's in stressful states because it kicks in our fight or flight, unfortunately, right? So fight or flight, and that's like, I'm getting out of there, I'm quitting my job, or I'm just gonna, say something. Okay, so it can kick it in. And so we have a very touchy fight or flight system living in modern time, where our actual fight or flight system was kind of like built to help protect us against like bears and nature threats and like things like that. But we're living in this society that's very overstimulated and uncertain, and it tends to go off a little bit more too. So sometimes a lot of people have problems with emotional dysregulation, their energy field, don't even know it, or, the ego and the thoughts, because it's all very, very connected to our nervous system and our brain and all of this stuff too. And so when you are overthinking, or that's just could be any stressful event in our life could trigger this up. You could go through a major life event and it's really stressful and challenging, and you might notice, and we have a lot of CPTSD across the collective too that just adds to this from the trauma. So when you've been through one trauma, okay, but when you've been through repeated trauma and things like that, this is where it starts to get a little weird, and stuff like that too. So when you ground, this will help you, like whether you're trying to release negative energy or stress to the earth, that's a good way to do it, or you're just trying to chill out. And you'll notice the more you start to spend time in nature, you're going to start to feel a lot better and have a lot more calm thoughts. This is why meditation and nature are really, really so important. And I was talking about my favorite thing about nature, because I'm getting ready to do some nature spots. Well, most of the time it's free, by the way. So everyone's like, right? Some of the most amazing places on earth, they're not going to have a cover charge. Go find a waterfall in the forest, go for that nature walk, go out there, go see the ocean, whatever it is. Okay, I'm just putting it out there. And it's very, very healthy for us too. So here, I'm going to kind of wrap it up, but I want to do another one because I couldn't tell how long I was on here. Let's do Erica Anderson. Archella Constance, bring heaven to earth. So we're kind of talking about this a little bit with the angel messages, but I love it. I'm going to get into this rant. I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to. I love it how we're programmed to wait until we die to go to heaven. And, if you weren't a very good person here on earth, I don't know why you think you're going to heaven there if you can't get in heaven on earth, right? Like, jokes aside, overnight, right? We're taught to like literally one day. It's the breadcrumb, right? Most toxic relationships have the breadcrumb to kind of keep you hooked and things like that, right? Too. So it's like the breadcrumb though, and not to work on ourselves here on earth. And there's all of this, scapegoating and things. I'm not going to go too into this again, but we're actually here to remember that we're here to manifest heaven right here, by the way, literally. And that earth is actually a reflection of the other realms and dimensions and things like that too. You ever notice how your dreams tend to mirror your waking life? It's like that with the higher realms too. So we're being reminded that we're meant to actually embody this here and to manifest your dream life right here, right now, out of whatever's going on. And so, out of your old 3D life that probably wasn't very good, like the 3D. If you separate the two, 3D to the 5, you're here to actually step into your power and manifest your dream life. And we're here to bring these manifestations here into the physical, and we're going to see that more and more, but this frequency here into the physical. Some of you guys are here to hold a frequency, and this is why it can take a lot out of you. We talked about it being a little exhausting, right? Holding this frequency and embodying this, and maybe even holding the frequency for those around you, and that can be a lot of work too. So some of this might even be frequency work where you're being guided to really awaken and work on your energy and your frequency so that you can hold that and embody that. Because with today's astrology, with that Capricorn moon and Venus and Taurus, is all about us actually being able to hold what we're asking for. It's one thing to have this manifestation list of these really big things. Are you able to actually hold that energetically right here in this space in your life right now? Are you able to bring this more? We talk about being more, or this muchness that we want. So I'm trying to manifest something. I always talk about the boat. Let's go back to the boat. Okay. I've wanted a boat for a really long time, and I've been putting it out there. And, I always talk about you could get it for free because, your boss was getting rid of their boat and they just didn't want to deal with it anymore. By the way, they had enough of the boat and they're just trying to get it out of their yard. Are you able to actually take that on? And this is just an example. It could be anything. Are you able to actually embody that right now? Are you, if I hand you that boat right now, are you going to take the keys and go for a drive? Or are you just going to be like, oh no, this is coming through. I don't think I have any room in my yard. I don't think I know how to drive it. And so we need to also be prepared to embody what we're asking for. A lot of people, they don't have the nervous system capability energetically, and this is what keeps people stuck in lack in 3D programming, because until we heal, sometimes we can't hold everything that we desire or that we're asking for, or even that 5D blueprint. It's about really healing and shifting into this 5D blueprint, which is like, holds the blueprint for your existence, your DNA, the 5D, the life you should be living or you will be living. And so this is why healing is so important, so that we can actually hold that. And I mean on the energy level too. So a lot of people ask for things like, more money. We'll just say if you have bad spending habits, you go, whatever, be really reckless with it. The universe probably doesn't want you to give you that, right? If it would be negative for you. But if it would be a positive thing and you're showing, spiritual maturity and you'd use it to better yourself in your life, absolutely, you're going to get it. And so it also kind of depends on some of the healing things too. So some ways we've been blocked until we got to this level where we could handle what we're asking for or more too. This is why healing your energy and your nervous system is so, so important, so that you can actually hold more, because we're holding up our entire universe, everything connected to us, and our worlds as well too. So this will help you too. So nervous system healing, recalibration, solar plexus work, and being able to hold more. You keep those manifestations in your mind, but make sure you're also aligning with them. You want that boat, you go watch a bunch of YouTube videos on it. You go become an expert. You can become an expert on a boat in a week, I'm convinced, around here. Go to YouTube, right? There's so much on Google, YouTube. We're in the age of knowledge, right? And you don't know how to ride a boat. You don't know, you're a little afraid of it. Go watch a bunch of videos, get comfortable, maybe go on a boat for a day, right? Get ready for it. Like, be excited about it. I'm getting a boat. You don't have to know how. Trust me, the universe will make sure that you get it. We see a lot flipping around during our time. All right, I'm going anyways. Have a beautiful day. If you guys do need me, I'm around doing healings and activations today. Just book me on my website. Make sure you guys are taking a flip through my website too. sparksofdivinelighthealing.com. Have a beautiful day.